Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling. Tonight, we return to the story that has left an entire nation asking the same question. What truly happened to Menglong? Reports of a hidden room, a sealed space, and a discovery beneath one of Beijing's most recognizable art districts have reignited grief, disbelief, and a deep hunger for answers. This is not a tale of morbid curiosity. This is a story about dignity, truth, and the courage it takes to walk into the dark with a light in your hand. Welcome to Update X24H. On this channel, we handle sensitive topics with care. The following account draws on publicly discussed claims, community testimonies, and media commentary. Certain elements remain unverified. Where appropriate, we present them as allegations or ongoing lines of inquiry. When the news first broke on that quiet September morning that Menglong had fallen from a building in Beijing, the country fell into disbelief. The official explanation arrived almost instantly. An accident, influenced by alcohol, nothing more. Yet those who truly knew Menglong, their soft-spoken, diligent actor whose calm presence had touched millions, could not reconcile that sterile report with the person they admired. To them, it was as if a gentle light had been extinguished without reason, and the speed with which the curtain was drawn over the case only deepened the wound. Tributes flooded social media. Flowers were placed outside studios where he once filmed. But as condolences multiplied, so did unease. The silence of certain people around him began to feel louder than the mourning itself. Among them was Du Chong, the manager who had once overseen Yu's career with precision and confidence. Du had vanished, leaving behind unanswered calls, closed accounts, and a legacy shadowed by coincidence. Two of his previous clients, Chao Runliang and Qiu Feng, had also died young, their endings equally abrupt. 3 artists, 1 manager, and no clarity. For the public, this pattern felt impossible to ignore. Whispers turned into online threads, threads into investigations, and soon the story spread beyond China's borders. What began as a single tragedy was now a mystery that questioned the very soul of the entertainment world. People combed through fragments of old interviews, searching for signs of fatigue behind Yu's smile, or hints of pressure disguised as professionalism. Every frame of his past work became a clue. Every pause in his speech, a cry for help that no one had heard in time. Some fans shared unverified audio clips, said to capture tense exchanges between Yu and his management. Others circulated messages describing the long hours, the impossible expectations, the contracts that seemed to own not just his time but his spirit. No one could confirm their authenticity, yet the emotional truth within them resonated. It spoke to a larger reality, of an industry where talent is celebrated publicly but constrained privately, where the pursuit of perfection often comes at the cost of peace. The more people learned, the clearer it became that Menglong's death was not just a personal loss. It was a reflection of an environment that prizes success over well-being. His story exposed the fragile balance between devotion to art and the human need for rest, the line between discipline and despair. Beneath the glamour of red carpets and flashing lights lay a quiet exhaustion that too many have felt and too few have voiced. In that uncomfortable realization, audiences found not only sorrow but recognition. They mourned Menglong, yes, but they also mourned the part of themselves that had once been forced to smile when life became too heavy. Rumors began to swirl like smoke, impossible to grasp yet impossible to ignore. Some claimed that Du Chong, the once trusted manager, had fled to Taiwan under a new identity. His supposed name, Du Yicheng, spread rapidly across online forums and gossip channels, giving shape to the mystery. But those with even a basic understanding of cross-strait politics and security laws doubted it could be true. Travel between the two regions was heavily restricted, the bureaucracy impenetrable. How could a man so deeply involved in one of China's most scrutinized industries simply disappear? Unrecorded, unseen, unheard. And yet he did. There was no trace of his departure, no activity on his accounts, no whisper from his professional network. It was as though he had been erased, not by accident but by design. This vanishing act shifted the narrative from personal tragedy to systemic suspicion. What if Menglong's death was not an isolated heartbreak but part of a larger structure? An industry that consumed those it claimed to nurture. Behind the gloss of premieres and endorsements, the business of entertainment revealed itself to be less about art and more about control. Contracts were written like invisible chains. Fame became a form of captivity. Artists, admired by millions, often surrendered their autonomy to a machine that demanded constant performance, constant obedience, constant silence. Menglong's story forced that truth into the light. For the first time, people began to talk openly about the cost of submission. Was success worth the quiet suffocation that came with it? Could creative brilliance survive in an atmosphere ruled by fear, pressure, and manipulation? The more the public searched for answers about Du Chong, the more they realized that his disappearance was not the only one that mattered. Over the years, countless young artists had vanished metaphorically, burned out, broken down, or simply replaced and forgotten. Yu's death, framed as an accident, became the symbol of an industry's collective fatigue. In the absence of facts, emotion became its own evidence. People filled the void with empathy, anger, and questions no one dared to answer. They imagined the moments before Yu's fall, the exhaustion, the isolation, the impossible expectations he had been made to bear. And in that imagining, they found a painful reflection of their own struggles. The mystery of Du Chong's fate became a mirror for a society wrestling with its conscience, a society that valued achievement but neglected humanity. The turning point was not in proving whether Du Chong escaped or not. It lay in the awakening that followed. It was the moment when people stopped whispering and started questioning. When the world began to see that behind every perfect performance, there might be a soul silently breaking. What happened to Menglong was tragic, but what it revealed was even more profound. That the pursuit of success without compassion will always leave behind shadows that no spotlight can erase. For Menglong's mother, the world fell silent the moment her son's heart stopped beating. In the week that followed, she spoke only once, her words trembling through the statement she released to the press. "My beloved son has left us forever. This sudden tragedy brings me immense sadness." After that, she vanished from public view, retreating into a silence that spoke louder than any interview could. Some said she had traveled alone to Urumqi, carrying her son's ashes back to the place where he first opened his eyes to the world. Others claimed her health had collapsed beneath the weight of grief. No one truly knew. Perhaps no one dared to intrude upon a sorrow that vast. What lingered was the image of a mother cradling absence, a figure who had given life to a man adored by millions yet left to mourn him in solitude. Her silence became the heartbeat of the story. Each passing day without her voice made the tragedy feel more intimate, more unbearable. The woman who had once stood behind Menglong's every achievement had now become a ghostly reminder of everything the entertainment world refused to face. That behind every headline, there are families breaking quietly. In the flicker of candlelight vigils, fans whispered her name alongside his, as if to remind the universe that a mother's love does not end when fame fades or cameras turn away. Meanwhile, the online world pulsed with life, grief, and resistance. Fans shared his past interviews, his laughter on variety shows, the small moments of humility that had made him so deeply human. Hashtags calling for justice flooded the internet, not only for Menglong, but for every artist who had been silenced by exhaustion, control, or despair. Some of these messages were angry, others mournful, but most carried a strange tenderness. They were not accusing the world. They were pleading with it to be better, to slow down, to remember that brilliance can break when it is overworked, that kindness can wither when it is unprotected. Through this shared mourning, something remarkable began to unfold. People across borders, languages, and generations started to see themselves in his story. They recognized their own fatigue, their own unspoken sadness, reflected in his weary eyes. Menglong was no longer just an actor. He had become a symbol of every quiet soul lost in the noise of ambition. His mother's pain, his fans' grief, and the unanswered questions that hung in the air fused into a collective ache, one that transcended celebrity and reached into the core of what it means to be human. In the end, it wasn't anger that defined this moment, but love. Love that refused to forget. Love that kept his memory alive in the hearts of strangers. Love that turned a personal tragedy into a mirror for the world to finally see itself clearly. And in that reflection, Menglong lived on. Not as a victim, but as a gentle reminder that even in loss, compassion has the power to heal what truth alone cannot. Menglong's story became more than a tragedy. It became a mirror. It forced us to question what we truly celebrate, fame or humanity. He reminded millions that even the brightest stars can burn quietly, hidden beneath layers of expectation and fatigue. His name has since inspired discussions on mental health, fair treatment, and respect within the entertainment industry. And for those who loved him, he remains a symbol of sincerity, reminding us that kindness endures even after applause fades. Perhaps the real mystery isn't why Menglong died, but why we waited so long to listen, to him, to others like him, to the quiet voices in the crowd. The truth may still be hidden, but one thing is certain. His light continues to guide conversations about empathy, justice, and hope. Thank you for watching this story with us. If you believe that every voice deserves to be heard and every truth deserves to be remembered, please subscribe to Update X24H, where we bring stories that move the world, not with noise but with heart. See you in the next update, and until then, keep compassion alive.